All right, it's the Sports Mashup number 53, March 2nd. Quick stumble there early, no problem. So getting into the NBA is where we start, and some news items here to go over here. Ben Simmons, I believe this is, assuming that it's just when it says Simmons, so it's Ben Simmons. Apparently has a back injury, still not okayed for practice. This is not good. The Nets have been in a little bit of free fall mode for quite some time now, and I guess we could just talk real quick about.
But on the upside, they do get Durant back tomorrow versus the Heat,
and then we just go over the Kyrie thing here. I mean, just a disaster.
The New York City mayor won't make exceptions for Kyrie. Here's the problem. He made a huge statement about how he would love to do it and blah blah blah, but he just couldn't do it.
Everything he said has made you think he's on Kyrie's side, but he still won't do it. And here's the problem with this. Two problems. Number one, you're a visiting player, you're not vaccinated. You can still go to New York City or Brooklyn and play. Number two, Kyrie could be a spectator at these games, but he can't play. On what earth does that make any sense at all? And I think most of this is obviously de Blasio's fault. He was the mayor when they put this mandate in. So Eric Adams is inheriting this, but he's not doing anything about it. He thinks that it'd be unfair to people who lost their jobs over not being vaccinated, which it's fair to say you could say that, but also it's like, I think most people realize this is just absolutely absurd that Kyrie cannot play in home games.
Yeah, he can go to the games.
Yeah, he can go. And he can also practice because apparently I guess the practices are private facility. So he can practice, but he just can't play. There's no science whatsoever behind this. And it's
I think there'd be issues with the practice thing because other teams, not NBA teams, like college teams and stuff, go there to practice when they're playing in like New York City and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Maybe a little free fall mode for the Phoenix Suns here for a little bit. They've lost 2 in a row. They're 49-12. Devin Booker, really the first player in a long time to enter health and safety protocols in the NBA. So I think by 5 to 7 days, he'll be out. Probably 2 games. They play tonight against Portland. So they're without Chris Paul already for most of the rest of the season. And now Booker being out, a bit problematic, but the good thing for them remains that they still have 4.5 or 5 game lead on Golden State for number 2 in the West and number 2 in the league. So they did build themselves a nice cushion to deal with a little bit of second half adversity, which is fine. I think they'll get Cameron Payne back tonight. They did have Booker running the point when Chris Paul was out. And it did, the first game that had happened, it worked, but that was against OKC, stumbled up in the last couple games. So I think they'll be fine. I'm not going to panic yet, but if they keep losing, then we're going to have a bit of a problem.
I was going to ask, did your outlook change after we had this discussion about them being without Paul last week?
It's definitely different without both of them. I still think that they'll be fine. I think a game like tonight, they're still 11.5-point favorites. I know that Portland's had some injury issues, but
as I believe last week you were like, will they still have Devin Booker?
Yeah, and now they have neither. So, well, it's better than being injured. So, hopefully they can figure out how to win a couple games without him, or at least a game. You'd like to see him get to the 50-win mark tonight, but we'll see. And who knows?
And another, the Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. to be cleared for on-court contact, underwent lumbar spine surgery 3 months ago.
He's a really good player. He was a really good prospect going out of high school, committed to Washington, decommitted, went to Missouri. He just had injury issues. Like, he's so athletic, so talented. He was a number 1 overall recruit out of high school in a lot of different websites at that time. Just injury issues.
I thought he was the guy who was at one point committed to Illinois.
No, he was committed to Washington, then went to Missouri.
Was there another guy from Illinois then that went to Missouri?
Well, they had Mark Smith, who spent a year at Illinois and then left for Missouri. And they had Jeremiah Tillman, I think is who you're thinking of. Jeremiah Tillman was committed to Illinois, decommitted, went to Missouri. Yeah, and then he did nothing at Missouri and was a loser. So, joke's on him.
And then lastly for the NBA, the Hornets are struggling right now, and they signed Isaiah Thomas to a 10-day contract.
Yeah, not the former Piston Isaiah Thomas, the
former Washington Huskies.
Yeah, lefty. Who has been a very good player at times. Like, he's had some when he was in Phoenix, he was really good. In Boston, he was good.
Yeah.
But just bounced around. I think, is it a height thing? I mean, I think a lot of teams look at that sometimes. If he's not playing well, I don't know. I mean,
I think he's one of those elusive guards, though, who can create those shots.
Yeah.
Like him and Nate Robinson, I remember watching videos of those two together in the offseason, shooting it together at Washington.
Yeah.
for their height and everything, I mean, their shot making ability over these big 7-footers is remarkable.
Yeah, they can light it up, no doubt. Let's go to the NFL offseason combine coming up here. Everybody in Indianapolis, draft coming up in a little under 2 months, I think. The Colts are non-committal to quarterback Carson Wentz. I think Frank Reich said something like, I've gone to bat for him. I'm one of his biggest fans, but obviously Chris Ballard, the GM, is not really committing either way. And I think a lot of this has to do with the way the season ended. Like, he wasn't that bad this season. He had his moments for sure, but I think the big problem here is you gave up a first for him. His contract's enormous. I don't think that you can get rid of him after 1 year.
I don't know.
I
mean, it seems like a lot of the big names around the team want him out.
They made a huge move, and I don't know about they have a good enough team around him to win games.
I mean, you never know what Jim Irsay. I mean, I think right now he's traveling in a band around the world.
Yeah, he's an interesting fellow, no doubt. But the big thing here with the Colts is he was just so bad in that game against Jacksonville. Like, if they lost that game because of their defense or receivers or something or offensive line, we'd be thinking differently. But Wentz, what was his QBR in that game? Like 6 or something? It was just horrendous.
I think it was less than that. But
yeah, he was just really bad. So who knows? We'll see what happens. A lot of interesting quarterback things are going to happen this offseason.
And then the combine thing, I think that is way less of a thing anymore. Like, I saw McVay's not even going.
Yeah, I don't think Shanahan's going either. And Robert Saleh's not going either.
McVay's isn't going because he's got 8 other new coaches in that he's got to prepare with for the new season. But
the weird one is Robert Saleh not going. I know Joe Douglas, the GM of the Jets, will be there, but like, you're the head coach of a team that has a ton of picks early in the draft.
One thing though, now everything's recorded.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then your medical staff is there.
Yeah, but I just think there's something about being there, atmosphere and talking with other coaches and scouts, relationship building
I guess your scouts are there too.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're going to see everything in real time, or you're going to see it all in recording.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of quarterback situations, Jimmy Garoppolo, shoulder surgery, still likely to be traded. It won't throw for 16 weeks. So that's what he won't be throwing from now until he'll probably be throwing in mid-July or something, probably. So right around training camp, he'll be throwing. So we'll see if he's on a different team. I don't know. I'd be interested to see who's going to have interest in him. Like, I think the Steelers could be a team that look at him, or Denver, or even
the Steelers GM kind of doubled down on Mason Rudolph.
That's such their MO. Like, to go with Mason Rudolph is such a Steeler thing. Like,
I've seen other things too. Is like he was moved to third string. His reps were VR. So he wasn't getting any. If he was getting any with the team, it was so limited. So they were giving him VR reps.
He's just not good. That's the thing.
Then they started him 6 quarters in, and just kind of threw him to the wolves. Then he was in concussion protocol.
Yeah, it's a bit of a disaster quarterback situation, but we'll see. They got a lot of time to figure it out and a lot of different options, I'm sure. The Packers are working on an extension for Aaron Rodgers. Will make him the highest paid player in the league. Will he take it, though, is the big question. I don't think his entire thing about whether he wants to stay or retire or get traded is not really about the money. But
I saw the GM of the Packers came out and said that he doesn't like using his franchise tag, so he doesn't want to use it on Devontae.
Here's the thing with that, though. They will use it if they have to, but I think eventually if they use it, they will get an extension done with him. Like, I don't think he'll be playing on the tag this season. And I don't think there's any way they let him walk for nothing, because I think they're going to work on an extension to try to get that done. The other thing is they've been creating a lot of cap space with a lot of their big contracts. And the big reason why they need to extend Rodgers is to clear up space. Like, he's like the way that you can convert money into bonuses or move money down the road. They need to give him a big, it would probably be 4 years, 200 or something around that, something ridiculous, but it's going to eventually clear up space for this season. And they're going to go all in, because I think he's going to return. I don't see him retiring the same year as Brady, even though it seems like maybe Brady's going to come back. Wouldn't surprise me that much. I don't know if it'll be this season, but
Arians came out and said if he's returning, he's only coming back to the Bucs.
Yeah. Well, what if he waits until next year? Does that change anything?
I think in the interview he had with Pat McAfee yesterday. He said, no, he's not coming here.
Well,
because there were reports too that the Dolphins were trying to get Brady and Sean Payton, and the Saints, first off the rip, said no.
yeah, be a hell of a duo. That'd be interesting, but it's never going to happen. So what can you do? The Giants released tight end Kyle Rudolph after one season. He had a big contract, 2-year deal. I don't really think it's Kyle Rudolph's fault that he wasn't very good last year. The Giants had one of the worst passing games in the history of the sport.
And there he's tight end too.
Yeah, Evan Ingram's not any good either. So,
but do you think he's done now?
No, I think he keeps playing. I think somebody, maybe he goes back to Minnesota to play, probably behind Irv Smith, but still useful. He'd be great in a system like what LaFleur or Shanahan or those guys run because he can block and he's like a vet. Like that system, I know that San Francisco has Kittle, but that system, you really don't need that vertical tight end as much as other systems. Like you get a block guy, a possession guy, like what Mercedes Lewis does, it fits in that system perfectly because the system is built on running the ball and you need blockers, and tight ends that can block are a huge part of it.
I was thinking he could even be a good fit in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, they have a rotating kind of system of tight ends there. I know they just extend Ian Thomas, who's one of their tight ends. I mean, he's not like a high-level guy, but Rudolph would be a good veteran to throw in there with whoever their quarterback is, and I think Matt Rule probably would know how to use him.
Yeah.
The Cardinals extended head coach Cliff Kingsbury and GM Steve Keim through 2027.
But not getting an extension for Kyler Murray yet.
The thing about the Kyler Murray thing is like, dude, you played an absolute horrible football game to end the season. And now you're going to come out and make a big deal about how you think you deserve money. Like you guys started the season well, and then you were bad after that. He gets hurt. He runs into sacks. He's going to get himself killed out there. I don't know if he has the clout, as the kids say, to pull all this stuff.
The kids, that would be you.
Well, a little younger than me saying that stuff. I mean, I think that was a couple years before or past my situation, but what can you do? And another surprise retirement.
I did also see that Pete Carroll said no intention of trading Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I don't really see that one. I don't know. It's hard to believe a lot of the things that are said at this time because a lot of things change between now and the draft because you have free agency coming up in a couple weeks. So
yeah, but now with him going on Twitter and removing all the Seahawks stuff there too, it's like
that's the thing. Like everyone's making a big deal about how much drama that Aaron Rodgers caused last season.
Like,
not one time did he do any of that stuff.
Like Russell, at least, he didn't get rid of like pictures or anything. He just changed his profile picture to him and his wife and their kids.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more so targeting Kyler Murray with that, but it's interesting.
But yeah, to your retirement thing, surprise, Ali Marpet, guard / drafted as a center, played first year or two at center for the Bucks. Surprisingly retires only after 7 seasons, being 28.
This is going to become a trend, I think, for players like this, offensive linemen, defensive linemen who are getting paid so much money, the high-level ones. Like, you're making that much money. You've already made this much money. Why keep going, I just think this is a trend now. It's going to be happening a lot more.
And with this, like when Arians was on with McAfee, whatever, we are talking about how last year they were able to bring back all 22 starters.
Yeah.
This year, as of right now, they have 4.
Big changes, and they're going to have to retool, reshape the way that they play. I mean, at least they're getting the creamsicles back in a couple of seasons, right? I think that's 2023.
They're wearing them next season.
Yeah, well, that'll probably boost the team a little bit, I would think.
But I mean, that's 4 signed now. Like Godwin's still a free agent. A lot of the defensive guys are free agents, so it's not like these guys are gone where they're not retiring. Just right now, there's only 4 starters that are signed.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens there, see what Arians and Jason Light can pull off. Let's go to the golf.
Last weekend, you had the Honda Classic winner, Sepp Straka, won $1.4 million, shot 10 under. But he came back, I forget who it was up, shot like 6 under in the first. Yeah, shot like 6 under on day 1.
Yeah, he was at 11 after 2 days.
And then blew it
in
the last 2.
Yeah, I didn't really watch much of this tournament.
But this weekend we have the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Defending champion is
Bryson DeChambeau, who will not be defending his title this week.
At the Arnold Palmer Bay Hill Club and Lodge in Orlando, Florida.
Beautiful golf course, great golf course. One of DeChambeau's biggest moments of his career was last year at this tournament when he drove like 380 yards over the water to get it to the other side in a par 5. So, but he won't be defending his title. I think he has an injury of some sort still that he's dealing with. So maybe he'll be back by Augusta, I guess. I don't know. But interesting tournament, some good players back in the field. But it's weird not seeing somebody defend their title. That is a bit weird.
Out of all 4 days of him driving that, I don't think he ever put it on the green, and I think he only got 1 eagle out of it.
It's really far. Like, I don't think that you'd have to go like 440 probably to get there and to get to the top.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, I think he only eagled it once.
Yeah, which, those greens there are a little bit tricky, as most PGA greens are, but different slopes and stuff. The way Bryson plays, it's not really a finesse game, so I think that sometimes he kind of struggles with the wedges a little bit, but you're driving over that water. You would think you have enough shots there to get an eagle, but couldn't get up and down, I guess. Let's go college hoops, officially March, big month.
Yeah. Oh, wait, my NFL things I had. Forgot about those.
Let's throw those in here.
The top 8 receivers with 100-plus targets. This is ranked by their catch percentage. Who's number 1?
I feel like this is going to be a non-obvious answer.
Well, let me just tell you, Devontae Adams is at 8.
Okay.
He's at 119 targets, 72.8%.
Is it a surprising number 1?
I mean, we've talked about him. Like the other sprite, like Cole Beasley's at 7, 112 targets, 73.2. Jalen Waddle, 140 targets, 74.3. Christian Kirk, 103 targets, 74.8. What's the guy from Detroit's first name? St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
He's in 4th, 119 targets, 75.1. But the next 3 guys are all well-known guys.
I mean, with the injuries that they had, I don't know if a Bucs receiver would be on there.
One is
Mike Evans.
Nope.
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin's at number 2, 127 targets, 77.2% completion.
I'm trying to think of other receivers who would have that opportunity to be on there.
Well, think of some guy who may have had a lot of targets.
DJ Moore.
No, may have won a Super Bowl.
Cooper Kupp.
He is number 3, 191 targets.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
75.9.
And that's with Robert Woods being there most of the season and then OBJ just replacing him, plus still having Van Jefferson the entire time.
Number 1, though, we've talked about this guy, how he gets open all the time. He's a really good route runner.
Well, when stuff like this happens, I tend to lose my,
May play for Vegas.
Okay, well, it's Hunter Renfrow, so.
Yeah, 128 targets, 80.5%.
That's something I should have figured out quicker. I'm embarrassed about that. Because Renfrow is that guy that gets like him and Kupp, absurd amount of targets.
And this should be eye-opening for the Patriot fans, but the most interceptions in the last 10 seasons.
Most interceptions in the last 10 seasons? For a quarterback?
No.
For a corner?
Yeah.
Patriot fans? So Stephon Gilmore?
Not saying he's number 1. Gilmore's number 5 at 27. Sherman's 1 at 33.
Okay.
Then you got Marcus Peters.
Okay.
31. Harrison Smith, 29. Xavier Howard, 27. Tayshaun Gibson of the Bears.
Yeah, he did most of that with Jacksonville, I think.
Yeah. He's at 6. Then Janoris Jenkins, 27. Patrick Peterson, 27. The Honey Badger, 26. But this is the Patriot at number 10.
J.C. Jackson?
Correct.
Yeah, gets a lot of picks.
25, and he's been in the league how long?
6, 5 seasons, I don't know.
And now he's a free agent?
Yeah. They got to pay him. I don't know if Bill will do it, but I feel like part of Bill getting rid of Stephon Gilmore is to make J.C. Jackson their guy. So I think you got to get that done. Because their secondary becomes – I know it's a Belichick team, but their secondary becomes very questionable if he's gone.
And then the other one I had was Birthplaces of NFL players in NFL history outside of the U.S. born players. What country do you think's won?
Birthplaces. That's a tough one because it's not really that type of sport. I'm gonna say.
And this is of all NFL players in NFL history.
Yeah. I feel like my guess is going to be horrendous. I'm going to go Cuba. I mean, I don't even.
Canada.
Yeah, I was going to guess Canada, but I felt like that would be too easy.
122. Second's Germany. 86. Jamaica is 42. Number 4 is England at 32. Then Nigeria with 30. Italy 23. Australia 19. Tonga at 15. Mexico at 13. And Japan at number 10 with 12.
That is surprising. Some of those are surprising for sure. Interesting. All right. What we got?
College hoops.
Yeah.
Before the AP poll, first time in men's college basketball history, every team in the top 10 or top 6 lost Saturday.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 9 all lost. Wild day. And they were all road games, so that's something to think about. Some of them bounced back in their next game. Some of them did not. Arizona ran USC out of the building last night. Kansas lost to TCU last night.
I think Duke was the only top 10 team that played Saturday that didn't lose on the road.
Because the two that didn't play, I believe, was Villanova and who the hell didn't play?
It would have been 8 and 9.
Yeah, Villanova. Well, it could have been 8 and 9 from this poll. It had to be from the last poll. So Villanova and might have been Providence in there.
Baylor was 10.
They won, yeah. So wild day in college.
So it's 8 and 10 because you said 9 lost.
Yeah.
And then Saturday's game against Syracuse with Duke is the first time between Coach K and Boeheim that one team had lost by 20, or in the season, neither team had beat the other by 20 points or more.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when Syracuse is just brutal this season.
Yeah, January 22nd, Duke beat them by 20 at home. And then at Syracuse, they beat them by 25. The first team under Boeheim to lose by 20-plus points in the same season by one team.
Yeah, that's brutal. Syracuse does not play defense, can't really shoot, can't do anything.
No, they had the game locked up against North Carolina and blew that one.
I mean, you get like 40 points and super efficient play out of Cole Swider against North Carolina in Chapel Hill and you lose. That's just a huge representative thing of the season for Syracuse.
Had what, 7 or 8 threes?
7 for 10 from 3. I mean, that you cannot lose that game.
So yeah, with 1 through 6 losing though, the top 2 spots in the AP poll didn't change somehow.
Yeah, I think it had to be that way though. Both of those teams have been dominant all season.
Gonzaga stays at 1. Arizona stays at 2. Baylor moves up 7 to 3. Duke moves up 3 to 4. Auburn drops 2 to 5. Kansas drops 1 to 6. Kentucky down 1 to 7. Purdue down 4 to 8. Providence up 2 to 9. Wisconsin up 3 to 10. Arkansas up 4 to 15. UCLA drops 5 after you somehow called them losing to Oregon.
Nailed it.
St. Mary's up 4 to 19 after beating Gonzaga. And then Illinois drops 5 to number 20.
Yeah, I'm surprised Illinois dropped 5 spots, to be honest, after going into Michigan and winning on Sunday. And their loss was to Ohio State. I know it was a home loss, but that was an Ohio State team that was playing hot. Of course, after beating Illinois, Ohio State has lost to Maryland and Nebraska. So
yeah, I think that's what hurt them, was them losing Saturday
probably
to Maryland.
The other thing I have on this is I'm surprised that Duke did not go to 3 and Baylor went to 4. I know Baylor backed it up by beating Texas the other night, but I just thought Duke would maybe be 3. But
yeah, I mean them going from 7 only to 4, but Baylor went from 10 to 3.
I mean, Baylor did beat Kansas, so they had that going for them, but that's probably what they're factoring in there. And here's the other thing. I tweeted this on Saturday. I think when it's all said and done, and we'll talk a lot more college hoops over the next few episodes after this. When it's all said and done, I believe the 1 seeds will be Gonzaga, Arizona, Kentucky, and Duke. Now, it's been a few days since I tweeted that. The only other way I see it is if Baylor keeps winning, they could probably get one. But I see no way Duke doesn't get one because the ACC is weak. They should run through the ACC tournament. They'll probably beat North Carolina by 50 and completely embarrass them on Saturday. So I think the 1 seeds are going to be those 4.
I think Auburn could come back in the play.
It's all. I was kind of just Auburn and Kentucky. I think Kentucky's going to finish stronger with the way Auburn's been playing.
Kansas plays TCU again.
I think Kansas is dead from the 1 seed convo.
No, I'm just saying they play TCU again either tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, and then they have to go and play Texas Saturday.
Yeah, Kansas does not impress me as much as they impress others. I don't know.
But, I mean, they're having 3 games within 5 days.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough draw. Let's go to Major League Baseball, where the commissioner is an absolute loser and the absolute worst. Rob Manfred continues to be an absolute idiot. They couldn't make a deal. They were close. Things fell through yesterday. 10 days negotiating in Florida. 12 different meetings on Monday night. Didn't happen. First 2 series of the MLB season canceled for every team. That's a total of 91 games. And we don't know when they're going to negotiate again. Hopefully it starts up in the next couple of days. They start negotiating again, but we knew this lockout was going to be a disaster, and it is living up to the hype of being a disaster. I think the owners are a bunch of douchebag, greedy losers who don't want to pay proper luxury tax threshold numbers. I think the commissioner has absolutely no balls whatsoever. And I think the players need to realize that while they may think that they're fighting for the good fight for the future players, public image is terrible. Nobody thinks that anybody in this situation cares about the fans. And an already dying sport, a sport that had 60 games 2 years ago, there's still COVID issues that could pop up at any time. They're pulling this BS and probably going to lose an entire month of the season.
Yeah, I mean, a normal, Bo Joe getting a game ticket, minimum is probably $20, $25.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The numbers are way too high. Plus, think about how expensive concessions are.
That's what I was getting at then. So you're at 25. Then if you just want a soda, that's still like $8 to $10.
A family of 4 is spending like $500 minimum at this point.
You're at $100 for the tickets already.
Yeah.
You go get the first thing, you get 4 sodas, 4 hot dogs, and maybe 2 popcorns for the kids.
That's like $200 probably in some places. Plus, you're probably getting some souvenirs just, because it's a big thing for kids to go to a baseball game. At least it used to be. I don't know how much it is now.
If the dad's pounding beer,
that's even more.
That's at $8 to $12 a beer.
Yeah, it's just a brutal situation. And this commissioner is so weak. Like, the problem with sports is that the commissioners are always a lapdog for the owners. And Manfred is the pure example of that.
And it's even more expensive if you're traveling to go to, see your favorite team.
Most families don't live close to a baseball stadium in most cities, No,
I'm saying, say around us, someone lived an hour north of us, like Peoria, and they're going down to a Cardinal game. They're probably staying down there.
Yeah.
So there's another, not counting, the gas, especially right now. They're going to have to get the kids food along the way or eat somewhere down there.
Think about Cubs and White Sox fans in our area. Yeah, we're a long way from Chicago.
Use the game as dinner.
Yeah, just so stupid. And I don't know how long this is going to last. Hopefully they figure it out, but they better because the sport's already dying and this is just going to hurt, no doubt. NHL, the Blackhawks are keeping Kyle Davidson as their GM. He was the interim GM. They decided to stay in-house. Despite a very weird list of candidates, they're staying with Davidson. Heritage Classic on Sunday, March 13th at Tim Hortons Field in Ontario. The Leafs and the Sabres going head-to-head. Another big weekend game for the NHL. Last week they had the Stadium Series in Nashville. Tampa Bay beating Nashville in that game. Big atmosphere. Terrible jerseys for the Predators, but the Lightning jerseys were pretty sweet, so they had that going for them. And then you had a couple other things on here.
Yeah, the Capitals winger Carl Hagelin out long-term after being caught in the eye by a stick at team's Tuesday practice.
Seems a bit dangerous, but not ideal. So
yeah, I mean, the report said it was an errant stick. So
yeah, he's a glue guy though. He won a couple cups in Pittsburgh. I think he won one in Washington. He's like a glue guy, third, fourth line winger. Gets in the dirty areas, kind of like a Marchand, but less not as good, not as much skill. It's a couple lines down.
Somewhere
the same types of things. No, I'm not going to do that.
And then the Oilers, Nugent Hopkins out week to week with an upper body injury, left the team's U.S. trip to return to Edmonton. He's third in points for them.
It's a guy they need. I mean, after McDavid and Draisaitl, it kind of dries out a little bit, but Nugent Hopkins has kind of been an under-the-radar guy. He was the number 1 overall pick not too long ago, and he's kind of been overshadowed by the fact that they always have a really high pick there.
And he's like second in minutes played at like 1949 and only has 10 penalty minutes on the year.
Yeah, second line center. I mean, that's a very important spot to be in, and
especially following the McDavid line.
Yeah, and sometimes he's playing with Draisaitl. Sometimes rarely he'll play with McDavid, but it's an important player that they need. They just extended him last offseason, so they're going to need him back to make any sort of run. Let's do the picks. 5-4 for me last week, 3-3 in college hoops. Did get the UCLA-Oregon game correct, but I did fail on Seattle over some random team that I thought they would be. I think it was Utah Valley. Failed on that. 1-1 in the NBA, 2-0 in the NHL, 0-5 in golf. So I'm now 355 and 289 overall.
Wait, what'd you go?
5-4.
There's 10 games.
Did I miscalculate my record?
We had 6 college basketball games, 2 NBA, 2 hockey.
Okay, miscalculated. It was 6-4. My bad.
Oh, man, I thought I was trying to get another loss pinned on you.
Couldn't do that.
I went 8-2. I went 1-1 in NBA, 2-0 in hockey, 5-1 in college basketball, and then didn't get anything in golf.
Good thing that 6s are easy to – you can make a 6 pretty easily out of a 5, so I was able to make an adjustment there on the fly. Let's start Arnold Palmer Invitational, Bay Hill, Florida. Always a fun tournament. Let's just do all of our picks for this at once, so just go ahead with all of your players.
My 3 to win was Scotty Scheffler plus 1,600, Victor Hovland at plus 1,800, and Matthew Fitzpatrick at plus 2,000. Top 5, Sung J M at plus 450. And top 10, Hideki Matsuyama at plus 250.
All right. I am taking Victor Hovland plus 1,800 to win. Paul Casey plus 3,500. Max Homa, friend of the show, plus 4,500. He's going to get me a win once. This is a tournament he could do it. This reminds me of the Max Homa going into the Wells Fargo a few years ago that he won, so I think he'll probably get the job done if I had to guess. Top 5, give me Sung JM plus 450. And top 10, Sam Burns plus 350. Let's do the NBA picks for tonight's games.
I got the Cavs minus 4.5 over the Hornets, and the Pacers minus 2 over the Magic. I don't know how that's that close of the spread, but I'll take it.
That's something. I'm going to go with 2 big dogs on the road. Blazers plus 11.5. I think that they play hard enough to keep it close. And with Booker and Paul out, I think the Suns are a different team, but I think Ayton and Bridges will be fine in bigger roles. So I'm going to take the Blazers to at least cover. And then give me the Knicks plus 10.5 at the Sixers. Something's got to give for the Knicks. They cannot be this bad. I think they can keep it close. So we'll see. NHL picks.
You ate on that last week, too, on the OKC Suns bet, didn't you?
Yeah, it looked close. And I guess the Thunder lost by 20, so didn't get that.
NHL, I got the Hurricanes minus 140 over the Caps and Canucks plus 105 over the Islanders.
I got the Oilers minus 155 at the Blackhawks and the Bruins minus 105 at the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's do college hoops Thursday.
I got out of the Missouri Valley, Evansville at Valpo, taking Valpo and the American. Cincinnati at SMU, taking SMU.
All right, I'm going to head to the Big Ten, take Michigan over Iowa, and then I'm going to take a Atlantic Sun game, Liberty over Lipscomb, Friday.
That'll be a good one, but Iowa's playing really well right now.
Yep, and Michigan looked really good last night beating Michigan State, but they still have some flaws defensively, I think.
Yeah, and who was it? I saw Michigan State play Saturday.
Purdue?
Yeah, that game. I almost picked that game and picked Michigan State. But Friday out of the Mountain West, I have Utah State beating San Jose State, and the American 10 or the A10, Richmond at St. Bonaventure taking St. Bon.
Friday, I'm taking Loyola Chicago to beat Bradley and Toledo to beat Bowling Green. Saturday,
taking Texas to beat Kansas. And then I had to pick this game. I'm taking Duke to beat North Carolina. Coach K's last game at Durham.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a blowout. I don't really see any other way, but who knows? Let me take Kentucky over Florida and Iona over Quinnipiac on Saturday. And then I'm doing a little college baseball sprinkle for everybody since college baseball is being played and it's supposed to save the sport. So I'm going to go tonight's game's about to start probably a little bit after this podcast uploads.
These are new footy picks?
I'll probably only do this once or twice, but we'll see how it goes. Give me Rice plus 160 against Baylor. And I'm just going to take a huge favorite, Auburn minus 330 over UAB. Why not? Rice and Auburn tonight. So we'll see.
Hey, a team we don't want to bet on right now in college baseball is Iona.
Fair point.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
They've been outscored like 7 to 124 in their first 6 games.
Absurd. Yeah, ridiculous. But that'll do it for us. We'll be back next week for number 54, March 9th, and we'll see you then.